Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you've been here before. If you've not been here before, disclaimers, these are my thoughts and opinions alone. I speak on behalf of nobody else, and also I swear. Now I need to put another disclaimer at the beginning of this particular video and just say I am not a racist, right? Because we have been told by them bastards, the powers that be, the ones above the government, but the government and the media have spread it, that to have any opinion on the migrant crisis, because it is a fucking crisis at this point in time, you are a racist. That is labelled you racist. This has got fuck all to do with race, everything to do with safety and a fair distribution of provisions. It's like literally at this point in time, we are letting any old Joe Bod, and this isn't a wife and kids thing, this isn't saving the elderly thing. I watched a video yesterday on Facebook which was from TikTok, of this man who'd been to a really, really posh hotel somewhere, really posh, and it was full of men, immigrant men in their 20s, right? And that's what I'm gonna touch on and whatever. It's like, this isn't cultural enrichment. You know what I mean? They've told us all sorts of. They've told us that we're not allowed to question it, or we're racist, and that usually shuts people up. Unfortunately, I'm not somebody who can just shut up like that. But it's like, oh, this is cultural enrichment. This is doing us favours, right? I live in a country that is completely nothing like the country that I grew up in. I live in Leicester, and ours was one of the first cities where white British is now an ethnic minority. And I should imagine that that's moving further out. So there's all these war-aged men coming in from around the world. Now, I've done loads of videos, like if you do follow me, you'll know how this ties in. But it's like, I do videos on scammers, for example. And I've done videos on Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, for example. And these tie in because the chaps that I've spoken to on Facebook, now I have a big love to Sarah, bless her heart, but she's always like, block them, block them, block them. And I don't block people because I'd rather learn, right? And I've learned some disturbing stuff through speaking to people that you can't get rid of. Recently, Indian dude, I have done a video on him, Ramon, who basically thinks that he makes magic with his penis. And literally that man, I've just spent, I've put him on restricted now because I kept saying, no, I'm not interested in you. I don't find you remotely attractive. You are in no way interesting to speak to. I don't want you in my inbox. And then he'd just be, Kerry Ann, darling, hi, can I ask you a question? And send him photographs of his podgy little body with his knob sticking out. Look, mum, no hands. Just wouldn't let it lie, right? And then there's this other chap, Amin. Now that guy, he's Algerian. And that guy is wrong in the fucking head. Not only will he not back down, he is disgusting. Disgustingly sexual. No respect for women at all, right? Now, if that guy arrives on a boat, I guarantee you that he will sexually assault somebody. Because literally this man, and I got sick with the man. I sent him sick stuff, and this guy just fucking came back. He is a sexual predator, and this is dangerous. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips advertising that English girls are easy, and literally all you've got to do is put a balaclava on, and boom, guaranteed shag. Do you see where I'm going? Right? So, yeah, I am not being racist, right? I genuinely feel, I mean, I know they're not going to fucking go after me, let's face it, but I still feel scared. Now, I've never felt scared. Like, literally, I will walk into a room with fucking anybody, even if I know they all bloody hate me and hold my head up. But It's like this, you don't know. They don't speak your language. They were not brought up with your culture, with your morals, with your country's morals. These people, some of them are fucking dangerous. And we're just letting them all in and giving them all of the resources that should go, that should be divided between the people in this country. We're seeing our resources go down because our money is being given to these people, and then we're giving foreign aid to their countries, right, as well as paying for them to be in our country. We're also paying for the people that still live there, and then we're paying them the most amount on bombing them, right? And now I've said years ago, like, what do you expect? Bombing a country and then inviting the victims of your brutality, of your hostile takeover, just saying, come and live amongst us. And so years ago, I always used to think that what they wanted was fighting on the streets. They wanted war in our country. And literally, I am fully expecting there to be a civil war at some point in time. There to be a fight where we are taken down on our own turf. Do you know what I mean? Don't know. But last night I was talking to my niece on the phone and I had a fucking brainwave, right? I'm like, what if all of a sudden, later. What if they're bringing in these huge amounts of people, right, to counteract the fact that a lot of us have died in the past 5 years. Now this, I'll talk about anything else, but medical stuff, that's what's in the past had my channel threatened with taking down, because there are certain truths that you literally cannot say still, even though it's all over and done. Do you know what I mean? You still cannot say anything about these certain things. Anyways, so I looked at what the population of the UK was, right? Because back in 2020, March time, I Googled, and I don't know why. But I Googled the population of the UK and it was 65 some odd million, right? And so last night, I Googled the population of the UK and it's 66 million. 66 some odd million. So it's gone up by 1 million in 5 years. However, over the past 5 years, I thought today I'd take a look at how many migrants have come in. And literally that accounts for that million increase and several million more. So we've got, now they're saying about net migration, and I didn't know about net migration because I don't bother myself with politics, and it's all a bag of bollocks. It's all fucking a farce. It's a floor show, right? Whatever's going to happen will happen behind closed doors, mate. It won't be in the news. It won't be what we're told. Yeah, net migration takes off the amount that we leave off of the amount that are coming in. So it's like where you get 1.5 million coming in, if 500,000 of us leave, there's only 1 million coming. But there's 1.5 million more people that aren't English in England. Do you know what I mean? And 500,000 less. Right. So anyway, right. Let's go through this a bit. Both Labour and Conservative Party have argued that current levels of immigration are too high, with Labour pledging in its election manifesto to reduce net migrations. Whether that means they're going to ship a load of us out, who knows. Migration was also reported as one of the key factors behind the disorder and rioting seen in the summer of 2024, although we and others wrote at the time there are likely to have been a range of underlying causes, blah, 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 blah. New figures published in 28th of November 2024 estimate that net migration to the UK in the year to June 2023 was 906,000. Yeah. A record level and far higher than previously thought. In the year to June 2024, it's estimated to have fallen by 20%. Right. I am reading from fullfact.org/immigration/net migration to the UK. So if you want to go look at this, because I'm not a research person, and please feel free to tell me if I'm completely wrong on this, right? But check out this. I don't know if can I actually. I can't turn this around while I'm doing it, can I? Right. So we've got 1964. Right. In 1964, there were more people leaving than coming in. 2020, boom, 800,000. 2020. That's when it started. Well, it was going before it started, by the looks, about 1992. Quite low. 2020, boom, mate. It's like based on annual net migration between 2012 and 2023 totaled 4.26 million. Right. Looking back further, IPS-based figures show net migration was broadly negative in the 60s and 70s. In other words, more people were leaving the country than arriving, but was increasing by the mid-1990s. Since 1994, more people have arrived in the UK than have left every year, and net migration has not fallen below 100,000 since 1998, other than during the pandemic. However, it's not true, as Reform UK claimed during the election that under the previous government, more migrants arrived in the UK in 2 years than between 1066 and 2010. I'm assuming they meant to put 1966. But they're thinking that, oh, here you go. Who is migrating to the UK? In the year ending June 2024, the vast majority of people who migrated to the UK, 86%, were non-EU nationals. 10% were EU nationals. The EU plus Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland, with the remaining 5% British nationals. Note these percentages don't sum due to rounding. The top 5 non-EU countries of origin were India, 240,000 migrants, Nigeria, 120,000, Pakistan, 101,000, China, 78,000, and Zimbabwe, 36,000. Right. So, yeah, does that or does that not, like, tweak something to anybody else? It's like all of a sudden we have 2020, a huge millions of people being brought in since 2020, and since 2020 our population has only gone up by 1 billion, no, million, 65 million. Yeah, 65 million like it was in 2020. It's 66 million now, and yet we've had millions come in. So how come our country, when literally everywhere you turn, there are foreign people everywhere now? Like my estate, we had one black family when I was little. Now and now half of the people on my estate speak foreign languages just out of nowhere like that. Now I ain't saying, oh bless them. I ain't saying like no, don't give them something. But having said that, I think my niece said there's something like 16,000 people on the waiting list for houses in Leicester, right? And there are new foreign people popping up all round. We've got the Ukrainians, we've got people from Somalia on my estate, and literally there are kids who can't leave home because that's all stopped. You know, like, our country is fucked, mate. And I have another video to do on the NHS bollocks, because we don't have a working National Health Service anymore. It works, it trudges along, but it's been destroyed by fucking design, because them bastards can afford private healthcare. Them bastards can afford the poshest of hotels that they're not shutting down so that migrants can sleep there. Like, you know, like it's like I've said before. I read this article where a guy got into a fight with an Englishman and they shut them in this bar. And by the time they'd gone in, this migrant dude had literally tortured this man to death, stuck a broom handle down his throat. And when they interviewed him, he said, "That's just the way I've been brought up. That's what it's like in our country. That's what our country is going to be like now." Do you know what I mean? Like, literally. And with Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips going, "Oh, it's a free-for-all," the rapes are going to go through the fucking roof, mate. Because these people don't see, a lot of these people don't see women as anything more than a sexual object anyway. You know what I mean? They won't want what they want. Like this Indian man, and don't ever come for me and say I'm racist against Indians, because literally, there's an Indian man out there for me, mate. Like, literally, they are my, you know, the gorgeous Indian men are. This particular Indian man would not stop, would not leave me alone. I literally had to stop him. He would not listen to me, no matter how many. And he spoke really good English. I've spoken to him on video chat, right up until the moment that he got his knob off and started fapping in front of my face. And I'm sorry, darling, because I think he watches my videos, but I have a friend who's Pakistani, who has done the same, just video chatting me one day wanking off. And it's like, I don't want to see this. Do you know what I mean? And I have been in a car with this man, and he said, "Can I give you a kiss on the cheek?" And I said, "Yes, you can." And he literally went in, and I had to fight him off me to get out of that car. And I'm a fully grown woman. Do you know what I mean? If I was a girl, I wouldn't have stood a chance. You know, I ain't saying that English men have the, you know, like the best morals in the world. They're being body blued as well. They're being told, stick a balaclava on and you can shag anything you want as well, right? But they speak fucking English. Apart from hotels, you get somebody from another country who doesn't even understand the word no. I don't know. But I think, and, you know, this video is probably going to get me in a lot of trouble. And I can't believe I have to point out that I'm not fucking racist. I am not saying these people... Well, I am, you know, like, I am pointing out that there are differences in cultures that are going to get English people in trouble, that are going to put English people in danger, right? But that's not what I'm on about, right? What I'm on about on this particular video is, what if there was an influx of them in 2020 by design, by them bastards, to cover up the sheer amount of deaths that had happened since the beginning of 2021, since the rollout of something that we all, you know, like, if you don't know somebody who's been damaged by that or been taken by that, have you been living in a cardboard box in front of Buckingham Palace? Because I know several people who aren't here anymore. And, you know, like, the numbers ain't numbering. Do you know what I mean? We should have millions of more people in this country, because millions more people have come into this country. So why aren't the numbers numbering? Sorry for this one, because it's, you know, look, not a particularly nice topic. But, you know, like, I have a son, and my son is 22, and he has a girlfriend, and she lives in America, and she wants to come and live over here, and there's no housing. There's just, you know, like, I left home at 17 and I got put into public housing, and so I've been a council tenant my whole life, since I was 17 years old. And, you know, nowadays, you know, that's not an option. Your kids are staying with their mums longer because they literally can't get anywhere. And, you know, the government and their masters are going, oh, we're going to build this so many more houses and whatever. Do you think we're going to get them? Do you think we're going to get them? I don't. This isn't to enrich. Nothing that them bastards do is for our benefit, ever. And the sooner we realise that and come together and start discussing a different way to go about things, because while we leave this planet in their hands, we are fucked as a species. All of us. Whatever race, culture or creed, man, woman, old, young, we're all fucked. And they will never take the boot off the neck. We have to do that. So please, let's come together and talk about this. Please feel free to leave comments. Please keep them nice, because I don't want all this "you're a Nazi knuckle dragger," which I've been called a Nazi scum, knuckle dragging Nazi scum. I've been called before for pointing out that there's war-aged men being put up in hotels, while English men, war-aged foreign men, being put up in hotels, while there's English people who've lived here forever sleeping outside that hotel and underneath cardboard. And I was called knuckle dragging Nazi scum for that opinion. Well, for just pointing it out. Not even having an opinion, just pointing it out. Because they listen to them, and most people listen to them. So I am shouting in the wind, but one day, probably when I'm dead, people will go back and go, see, you had a point there, that one. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think that they're being brought in because the powers that be, the ones above the government, that they are planning a civil war at some point in time? Or do you think it's literally to replace the numbers of the people, of the fallen, the people that have been taken out by the you-know-what? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Please come back and never forget that I love you all. Bye.